just should start recording now. Please put a little here in the chat for me so I know that you're here in case my attendance doesn't want to work, which it does not today. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So today's webinar is going to be on Google Keep. We'll go for the next half hour, just kind of go over some of the details and some different things there. Let me present my screen. We'll go over to Google Keep and actually we'll go here and we'll get started. So Google Keep is one of those best kept secrets. I'd like to put it that way as far as what's available in Google that you probably didn't even realize was there. If you've taken a level 1, you probably saw that we mentioned like where you can get it and what it does, but you probably haven't used it very much within your class. Or if you have, you know, great, then maybe you can share some different ways that you've used it. I use Google Keep mostly for to-do lists and to kind of curate information from the web when I'm doing different things. It's a great place to save images that I want to use later. So it helps me out that way. So I'm going to show you some of the ways you can use Google Keep, how the features work, and you know, we should have a little fun kind of taking a look at it. So like I said, Google Keep is a great way to capture your digital notes. Like I said, I use it a lot for to-do lists. You can use tasks for to-do lists, but what's nice in Google Keep is that you can make the task collaborative, so you can add other people to it. It is a really great way to organize anything that you save on the web or anything that you want to be able to use with your students. It does give you a place to kind of store things. So it really works well for a lot of different things that you do in your classroom. Let me hit admit there again. Okay. So I'm going to show you some of the features here on the slide deck, and then we're really going to dive in and take a look at the website and how it works. It also does have an app. And the app has a feature that you don't get on the computer. So I have it on my phone and I use it there an awful lot. Got some more people coming in. Those of you who just came in, please put a here in the chat. My my Google Meet extension for attendance isn't working today, so please do that. So we're talking about on Google Keep, it does have an app that you can use as well. The app allows for voice notes where you can actually speak in, and what it does is it records your voice. So I spoke into mine. That's what you're seeing in the little GIF on your screen. But what it does is it not only gives you the text, but it captures it as a little video underneath the note. So once I'm done taking that note, you'll see that on your screen. It's a 13-second video in there. I put a title on it, and then I can share this note with whoever I'd like. It's a great way for you to set reminders for yourself, like remember to pick up, you know, milk at the store. But it's also great to be able to use with students where you can give actual audio feedback to students on the work that they've done. How can you use it? Whether you're using it on the app or using it on the computer, you can create drawings with it. You can collaborate. Hang on, I'm going to drink a coffee. Sorry, I'm back in the office today. It's a little dry. You can collaborate with people. You can create labels. So, you know, you may know how to create labels in your Gmail, but you can create them here. And I think they're a little easier to use even here than they are in your Gmail. You can add GIFs and images, videos, whatever you have, you can add to a Google Keep. And it does allow you to offer, it does have access to it right from your Google Docs and your Google Slides where you can offer feedback. The labels. So I mentioned that it does have labels that are built in, and I'm going to walk you through the process when we get on the site. But the labels are housed on the left-hand side of the screen. So you'll notice on the left-hand side of your screen right now, it says Notes, Reminders, and then it has these little labels. And as I'm going through and creating the labels, they stay on the right-hand or the left-hand side. So at any point I can click on that. Any of my notes that are in that label will come to the front of my Google Keep screen. You also can edit and add very simply. You can tag any of your Google Keep notes. You can tag with a label or multiple labels, so that way you can kind of organize them. So let's say you're doing this with students, you can create a label with your student's name or the project, and you can tag them that way. So that way you know that this is the note you gave to this student because you have it labeled that way. They don't have you delete out your notes as much. You just archive them, but you can delete them through the trash. I usually archive because you never know when you're going to need something again, and that way you can always pull it back. In the notes itself, you can take a note, you can add that label, a drawing, you could do check boxes, You can add images, you can change the colors, anything you normally would do like in a Google Doc, you can do here on a Google Keep. You can even pin them to different spots. You'll notice there's a little push pin in the top right-hand corner, and that push pin allows you to pin your items wherever you need them to be, so you can pin them to the top so they're easily accessible for you. There's also a Chrome extension for Google Keep. This Chrome extension allows you to save your web pages. So if anything on the internet that you're like, oh, I want to save that, kind of like you might save it to Pinterest or something like that, you could do that right in Google Keep. Again, you can add labels, you can take notes on what you saved, you can do all those kind of things. So I'll walk you through that as well. How can students use it? So students have access to Google Keep. It's part of the G Suite that you have. And they can use it to capture their thinking for any kind of notes, exit tickets, brainstorming. I've had students use Google Keep for collaborative research projects because you can use it just like you would with index cards, where the students can do different parts of their research on different Keep notes with all the links at all their annotations, everything they typically would do. And then all of that can easily be transferred right over to a Google Doc, and I'm going to show you how that happens. So that way, all they have to do is click and drag, and all of their research is organized the way they want it organized. So it does help with that. Like I mentioned before, it is integrated with Google Docs and with Google Slides. It shows up on the right-hand side of your Google Doc and Slides page, and I'm going to show you where that is. And all you have to do is click and drag it across, as you see on the little GIF, that it's that easy to bring them right in, and then you can organize and do whatever you'd like with them. So let's go out to Google Keep. So in order for you to get Google Keep, if you're on your Gmail, it's already on the right-hand side. You'll see that little Google Keep icon on the right-hand side. If I'm in a Google slide, so I'm in this Keep slide that we're working on, the Google Keep icon is right here on the right. And if I go out to Google Docs, let me just open up something here. You'll see that I also have the Google Keep icon right here on the right-hand side. So you can open it up anywhere you'd like just by clicking on it, and it opens up on the right-hand side. On that one, you can just take a note. That's the only thing you can do there, but it automatically will label whatever you labeled this. So if I said Google Keep training and I titled it that, it's going to, let me just hit done on that one. It's going to call this whatever you called this doc. So it automatically links the fact that these are notes that you're taking to do with this doc. All right, so you always have that there. Once you have this note and you click done, it saves it right here in your Google Keep. Or if I click this little box and arrow at the top of my screen, it will open me right up to Google Keep. All right, so this is your Google Keep platform. Like I had mentioned, on the left-hand side, you see notes, you can see reminders, you can see, you know, whatever labels you had put. So whatever labels you created, you can see them in there. You can edit your labels and you can create new ones. So I can say PV training and hit done, and that will add on whatever label I want automatically. I can also delete out. So let's say I don't want this one. I could just hit the trash can and it goes away. Here's where you can also find your archived one. So anything that you've gotten rid of will show up there. And then you can obviously get rid of things in your trash, but it's deleted after 7 days. So I tend to save it in my archive. That way I can always pull it back if I need to. So let's go back up to the top with the notes. In the Google Keep notes, you'll see that I have one that's pinned up at the top, and then I have all my other notes below. But anything that I've labeled, like here, I've labeled books to read, or this one I've labeled drawings, this one's to-do lists, I can see what labels I have on there. So I can always do that. Where you see another person underneath there, this is a collaborative note that we have between her and I, or I might have even shared it between me and another one of my accounts, so I can share it that way as well. So it can show up in more than one place. So anytime you see a little person there, that's collaborative. It means you shared it with somebody. Anytime you see a little gray box at the bottom, those are things that that you've put labels on. All right, so how did I create these? So right at the top, it says take a note. If I click in there, it automatically opens up. So I'm going to call this one Google Keep Training. I gave it a title. and I'm going to take a note. Now, if I was on the app, I could be voice typing in there, but you can't do that on the Chromebook or on your Mac or whatever. You can only do that on an app. So here I might go, here is how you take notes in Google Keep, okay? So now, as I look down at the bottom here, as I'm taking my note, I can put a reminder on it so that this will come up at some point where it reminds me, hey, you have to check out this note, all right? I can add a collaborator. So I click on it and I start typing in somebody's name. Anyone I want to add to it, I can add in, all right? And then that person will have access to this note. The next one over, the little paint palette, will give you some different colors to change your notes to. So you can change it to whatever color you would like that note to be. The next one over is images. And this is where you can pull anything that you already have on your computer into your Google Keep, any images that you have. So let's say I wanted this image here. So I grab it, I hit open, it's going to bring that image right into my Google Keep note. All right, and you can do this for anything that you have on your hard drive. All right, so let's say I wanted this GIF to go in here as well. I'm gonna pull that in, that GIF's going to play. All right, so anything you want, you can add multiple ones into the note. The next box over is your archive button. That's where, if you say, I don't want this note anymore, you can archive it. And then in the 3 dots, you have some really good extra things that would be nice if they were actually right there on the toolbar for you. But just know that they're there for you. Here's where you can delete it. I can add a label. So as soon as I click on that, I get my labels on there. So maybe I put PD training in there as my label. Maybe I want professional learning, however I want it to be. As soon as I click away from it, it closes out that note. I want to do more edits, I can click that note and bring it right back open. Also within the 3 dots, I can add in a drawing. And what that does is it brings me out to a whole draw template. All right, so here, as I start to draw on the screen, all right, it's creating this image for me. All right, and you've got different colors, just like you see here. I can change the thickness to be anything I want. As I want to draw, I can add markers, highlighters. I can change the background to be, ruled paper, dotted paper, squares, whatever I want it to be. So you have some basic tools in here that you can do. All right, and if you need a larger one, they just keep adding space below it, so you can do that sort of thing. All right, so I've got my little picture that stays in there for my note. I can also make a copy of this. So maybe I want to make one for each student. So I'll make a copy, assign it to a student, make another copy, assign it to student, that sort of thing. I can add text or check boxes. So once I put in the first one, I can put in a second one and, whatever I want to write as my check boxes. As you go through your check boxes, once you've done something, if you click the checkbox, it will show that they're completed at the bottom of your note. They don't go away, they just stay there. If you realize, no, I need to bring that one back, you just uncheck the box, it brings it back. So again, we've got the checkboxes. Once you've added them, you get the option to uncheck all of them, delete the checkboxes, hide the checkboxes, grab the image text. So if you have images that have some text, you can grab that out of it. So think of it like if you took a picture of a PDF or something and brought it in, you can grab that text out of it. And you can even copy this right into a Google Doc right from the note. And we'll try that in a moment. All right, so I'm gonna hit close, and then that note stays right here. If I decide that I wanna pin this note because it's something that I'm working on, I can click the little pin, and what it does is it shifts it to the top of my screen here. All right, let me stop for a moment, see what questions you have, see if anyone put anything other than here, or ask a question if you have it. Any questions? We're doing good. Okay, I will keep going then. All right, so we're back on Google Keep, and I showed you how to take a note right in Google Keep. But let's say I'm on this Google Doc, all right, and I'm working on this, and I realize there's information I want to bring in from a Google Keep note that I want to bring into this doc. So I've done some research, I've grabbed some images, whatever it is that I've done while I'm out on the web. So I'm going to click on that Google Keep icon, and I have this note that I just created. I can click and drag. So I'm just left clicking and holding down and dragging it out. And now all of those notes are going to show up right on my Google Doc. So there's the image, there's the GIF, There's the picture I drew, and here's my list, including the things that I've finished and I've crossed out. So you can do this with any of your notes, okay? So maybe I want this cat GIF in there, all right? Or you know, I can go through and I want this book in here. Whatever it is, it's just gonna keep adding them on your screen, all right? And then from here, they're fully editable. I can make it smaller. I can change how it you know, looks on my screen depending on what I'm looking to do. So you have your full editing abilities right in Google Docs, all right? So you have that ability to add and change anything that you'd like. And all of that information stays here. I can still continue to take another note. It's still going to call it what I called this one. And, you know, you can still give it a title. And, you know, you can always have that information still there if you wanted to. Okay. So you see that information there. It works the same on slides. So if I was here in my Google Slides and I said, you know what, I don't want this GIF, I want something else, I can click my Google Keep over on the right. And I can say, I want this note that we just took, and I can click and drag it in. And it'll put all of those images on there, and I have to decide what I want to do with them since it had a lot of stuff. It comes in a little bit different here because it groups everything. So you might want them more individual. So you might click in one image at a time, or just some information at a time. All right. You can do that. And if you don't like it, you can take it out. So that is how you do it from Google Keep, from Google Slides, from Google Docs. If I go into my Gmail, I could do the same thing again. So let's say I wanted to start a new Gmail and I wanted to put this note in my Gmail. I should be able to click and drag. Maybe you can't in Gmail. No, they just let you edit and do different things in it, but you can't click and drag into a Gmail. Not yet. I'm sure that's coming because the fact that it's hooked to the doc and slides only happened in the past year. So I would imagine they're adding more features as you go on. But you still can take a note from here and, you know, kind of use it that way. Trying to think what else to show you. Google Keep is pretty simple. It really is just your virtual Post-it notes that you can do. Like I said, you can change the colors at any point. Any images you have stays on there. When you reopen a note, you can, you know, delete it out if you don't like it. You can add in something else. You can always, like I said, add the collaborators. So you click that and that adds a person to it. And then you'll see that other person's icon show up there. Again, you can pin it. And when I do that, it'll move it to the top of my screen. If I unpin, it will take it away. Any questions? Awesome. I think we've covered it. I don't know of anything else we need to really add to Google Keep. It's use it with your students. You can use it, like I said, for feedback for your students. So if, let's say this was the student's document, you could add a note, you know, and just say, you know, like, let's say this was Michael's work. You could say, Michael, great job. And then you're going to want to have had set up that label so that you have the label on there. All right. And then, you know, open it and Keep to add that label in. So if I had a label called, or just add them as a collaborator. So I don't know if I have a Michael, but all right, we got a Michael right here. You grab him in and you can keep that, that is a collaborative note. Or if I close out of that, I can add a label called Michael. And then when I open that note up, I can add that label. And when I hit close, that note stays there with the two labels on there. So you have that information there. All right. Is there any type of maps feature with this too? Like, what are you looking to do? You can put a map onto a Google Keep as an image. You could do that, or link to Google Earth or wherever.
I had a teacher once say that, are you able to hear me?
Mm-hmm.
That he uses it like to make like grocery lists or to-do lists for himself personally. And
Yep.
then when like he's out, like say he's up in Wilton near Home Depot, he'll get an alert or whatever on his phone. And he said it was through Google Keep, but Is it only
Yeah.
through the app?
Yeah, that's only through the app.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Google app, let me see if I can't show it on my screen. I don't have a way to reflect it.
Okay.
But in the Google app, when you open up a new note, you have a plus in the bottom left-hand corner once you open up one that allows you to do a recording and your drawing, your checkboxes, all those kind of things right in there. And I think it has some sort of like location feature. So if you're near something, it pops up saying, hey, don't forget you need to pick up milk, that kind of thing. So yeah, you could do that right in your Google Keep.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was downloading the app while you were talking at the end. I can see some of those. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the voice part is fabulous because it's pretty good. I mean, when I did the little GIF, I was laughing a little bit because here we go. If I put this big so you can see it, because I was recording myself taking the notes. So I clicked record and I started talking. And I don't know that I don't say my G's, but it says talk in instead of talking. And then you'll see that it changes the words as I go through. So it said car and then it said copy, voicemail went to voice memo. So it was trying to figure out what I was going to say and then it adjusted based on what I actually did say. So it was pretty good. And then, it does keep the audio recording too. So kind of like in your voicemail on your phone, it gives you both. You'll always get the text where it thinks what it said, and then you always get the video if you really need to hear what they were actually saying. So it works pretty well. Any other questions? Awesome. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll give you a copy of this. I don't know if you need it, but I can give you a copy of the Google Keep slide deck. There you go. And we'll see you at the next one. Have a great one.